Growing up, we were all told that if we worked hard, we could achieve anything. We could get a good education, get a good job, and buy a house. We could have a family, send our kids to college, and retire comfortably. But that dream is dead. Today, hard work is no guarantee of success. The system is rigged against the average worker. The ultra-wealthy and corporations have all the power, and they're not afraid to use it to exploit us. Employers pay us poverty wages. They make us work long hours with no overtime pay. They give us no benefits, and they're always looking for ways to cut our pay and benefits even more. The government doesn't help us. In fact, it often helps the corporations that are exploiting us. They give tax breaks to the rich and powerful. They deregulate the industries that are screwing us over, and they're always looking for ways to cut social programs that help working people. So what's the solution? It's time to wake up and realize that the American dream is dead. It's time to change the system. We need to fight for our rights. We need to demand a fair share of the pie, and we need to build a new economy that works for everyone, not just the wealthy and powerful.
The American dream is dead.
Once upon a time, the American dream was all about working hard to score a good life. But these days, that promise seems to have lost its sparkle, and the rewards for busting your butt aren't what they used to be. In a world where the rules seem to be flip-flopping, a lot of folks are grappling with money troubles despite giving it their all. It's like trying not to sink, even when you're putting in everything you've got. Real stories from real people paint a clear picture that the old playbook just doesn't cut it anymore. Take this Reddit user, for instance. He's got a college degree, a clean slate with no student debt hanging over him, and yet he's stuck in a gig that pays peanuts, and he can't stand it. The idea of affording kids or handling surprise expenses, forget about it. Then there's this mom who did everything by the book. She told her kids to hit the books, grab an education, and land a solid gig. But guess what? Her son, fresh out of college, can't even snag an affordable apartment, and her daughter, she hustled like crazy to save up for a down payment on a house, but somehow she's paying double the mortgage even though she took out the same loan as her mom. Hard facts back up these tough tales. Wages are just not keeping up with living costs. Inflation, it shot up by a whopping 7% in 2021, while wages barely crawled up around 5%. The middle class is like shrinking before our eyes. In 2021, only about half the adults are holding on, compared to a whopping 61% back in Takat 71. And the average Joe, he's got a measly $5,300 stashed away in savings and a jaw-dropping $50,000 piled up in debt. Hey, remember those first-time home buyers? Well, their average age has jumped from 41 in the 2000s to a ripe 47 now. And here's the kicker. Over 3/4 of us are just getting by paycheck to paycheck. It's simple. The connection between sweating it out and getting some financial stability is breaking down. The tried and true path that once promised a sense of security, getting an education, grabbing a slice of that home ownership pie, and prepping for retirement is basically on the fritz. For most folks, nailing those basic money goals feels like wrestling an alligator even after strictly following the game plan. Bottom line, the formula's changed. Just hard work isn't going to hack it anymore, especially with bills skyrocketing while paychecks stand still. The whole system, it's cracked. For all those generations told to work their tails off to get ahead, it's beyond frustrating that checking all the boxes still doesn't guarantee a win. The American dream, for a bunch of us hustling to make ends meet, it's feeling a bit like a lost cause, despite our darndest efforts. The American dream is all about believing that if you work hard and have skills, you can make it big, but let's face reality, it's not panning out that way. The system is totally skewed against the regular worker, and it's all about favoring the rich and lucky. The super wealthy are pulling strings through lobbying and throwing loads of money at politicians. Big corporations are throwing around billions to get their way, and the tax code, it's a mess of loopholes that mostly help the top 1%. Those big companies, they're getting away with paying next to nothing in federal taxes, and if you're born with a silver spoon, you're getting access to fancy education and opportunities that others can only dream of. Discrimination is still alive and kicking too. Race, gender, and stuff like that can still slam doors shut. Moving up the financial ladder, well, it's not as easy as it used to be. Back in the 1940s, nearly everyone's kids earned more than their parents. But for the 1980s crowd, it's like a coin toss, whether they'll make more than mom and dad. Compared to other fancy countries, the US has one of the crappiest rates of economic mobility. So much for meritocracy. The super rich are playing puppet masters with their lobbying, tax dodging, and monopoly building tricks. Workers don't have much say or protection nowadays. Unions, they're like a fraction of what they used to be, down to a measly 10% from 30% in the 60s. Without strong unions, wages are kind of just stuck. And companies, they're all all about fattening their wallets while the regular folks struggle. Top executives are raking in millions while the rest of us barely get by. Just working hard ain't enough to overcome all the unfairness baked into America's systems. The game's rigged, favoring the big shots. The American dream? It's supposed to be about equal chances. Unions fading and collective bargaining losing power let bosses exploit workers. Wages stay low while bosses rake in cash and bonuses. Minimum wage lags behind rising prices. Health coverage, retirement plans, and time off. Many workers miss out. Only 33% on low pay get job health care. Old school pensions, only 25% still have them. We're left with 401 psych plans stressing us out. US lacks family leave compared to other big countries. We patch vacation days for time off. Crazy schedules mess us up. Hourly workers suffer when shifts get slashed. Many hustle on the side to make ends meet. Over a third use gig jobs because our main gig falls short. Discrimination's still a big problem. Not much protects us from unfair treatment due to race, gender, or age. Big companies boost profits, cut costs on us. They treat us as disposable, not valuable. Execs make big bucks while we get uncertainty, low pay, no benefits. Those companies spend more on shareholders. As unions fell, bosses gained control. We lost protection against companies treating us as expenses. In this system, companies profit while we get little. Hard work doesn't pay as it should. Government's role in upholding the social contract, safeguarding citizens' rights and well-being, has deteriorated. Corporate interests now heavily influence policies, often neglecting average Americans. Politicians prioritize major donors over constituents. Monopolies thrive, eliminating competition and raising prices while wages stay low. Tax and labor laws favor corporations, disadvantaging workers. Loopholes let big companies dodge taxes, weakening worker power. Education and healthcare, once shared benefits, now cost more with lesser outcomes. The safety net is insufficient, leaving many without help. Infrastructure and public transport decay due to underinvestment. Mobility suffers for lower-income workers. Risks and costs are now individual burdens. In an economy favoring the wealthy, basic needs remain unreachable for many despite efforts. Tax cuts benefit the rich, depriving middle-class programs. Cities resort to fines and fees on the struggling. The New Deal's goals, quality jobs, housing, healthcare, education, retirement, are abandoned for individualism. We've shifted from we to you're on your own, but not everyone starts equally, leaving the less privileged trapped in poverty. The social contract goes beyond law, symbolizing an agreement between citizens and society. Sadly, it's broken as the government fails to protect all citizens' well-being. The core of the American dream is equal opportunity and upward mobility, promising hard work leads to progress. However, this dream is distant for many. The system concentrates wealth, not fairly distributing it. Hard work no longer guarantees fair pay or benefits. Employers gain wealth while workers struggle. Meritocracy crumbles in a system favoring the privileged. The social contract, promising equal chances, is broken as government neglects worker protection. To fix this, we need systemic change. Empower workers through stronger unions, remove financial influence from politics, reshape taxes, prioritize shared resources, healthcare, education, housing, infrastructure, regulate corporations to prevent abuse and monopolies, strengthen the safety net, including paid leave, child support, healthcare. Without change, the American dream remains distant. By revitalizing the economy and governance, revival is possible. Reward hard work fairly, temper luck-based advantages. We have resources for a good life if fairly distributed. This starts by acknowledging the system's deliberate design by the powerful. Reconstruction aligns with American aspirations. The American dream persists with a society benefiting all. Action is needed to make it reality. The time for renewal is now.